Welcome back to Scary Moo, the only channel where your nightmares are not only heard, but unleashed. Tonight, I did something no sane person should ever attempt. I gave an artificial intelligence the darkest, most twisted corners of my subconscious, the nightmares that have haunted me since childhood, and told it to recreate them as a living, breathing experience. Then, as if that wasn't enough, I challenged myself to survive what it created, all alone, in an abandoned asylum at 3 a.m. What happened inside those rotting halls was nothing short of supernatural. And tonight, I'm going to take you with me, step by step, into the AI's version of my worst nightmares. Are you ready? Because once you step inside, there's no going back. Let's get one thing straight. Nightmares are not just bad dreams. They're warnings, messages from the deepest, blackest parts of our minds. Mine have always centered around asylums. Endless corridors, doors slamming shut on their own, voices whispering my name from the darkness. Growing up, I'd wake up gasping, convinced something had followed me out of sleep. But what if those dreams could be brought to life? What if the thin barrier between nightmare and reality could be shattered by cold, unfeeling code? That's what I asked the AI to do. I fed it every detail, every shadow, every scream. And then I let it decide what horrors I would face. The AI spat out a list of challenges. Each was a twisted echo of my nightmares. Find the room where the children laugh, but only after midnight. Speak with the patient in the mirror. Survive the hall of locked doors. Every task was laced with a threat. Fail, and you encounter something worse. The AI didn't just recreate my nightmares. It amplified them. It made them hungry. And to complete the ritual, I had to go alone. The asylum itself was a crumbling relic, suffocating in silence and rot. Even before I stepped inside, the air felt thick, as if the building itself was waiting for me. I remembered the AI's first instruction. Enter at exactly 3 a.m. The doors will open for you. I checked my watch. 2:59. The wind picked up, rattling the iron gates. As the minute hand hit 12, the door swung open with a scream that echoed through the empty lot. I stepped inside, and the world outside disappeared. I was alone, or so I thought. The first challenge. Find the room where the children laugh. The AI knew my deepest fear, the sound of children laughing when there are no children to be found. As I moved through the asylum's main hall, my flashlight flickered. Old wheelchairs and upturned gurneys blocked my path. Every step echoed through the darkness. Then, faintly, I heard it, laughter. High-pitched, joyless. It danced down the hallway, tugging me deeper. I tried to follow it, but every door I opened led to a new corridor, a new set of shadows. The laughter grew louder, swirling around me. I pressed on, heart pounding, until I found a door painted with peeling cartoon animals. The laughter was deafening now. I reached for the handle, and the laughter stopped. Silence. I pushed the door open, and inside was nothing, just broken toys and a cracked mirror. But as my reflection came into view, the laughter started again, this time from behind me. I spun around. Nothing, but the air had changed. Colder, heavier. I remembered the AI's warning. If you hear them behind you, do not turn around. Or you'll bring something back. I backed out of the room, refusing to look over my shoulder, the laughter growing more distorted, almost mechanical. As I shut the door, it stopped. The silence was worse. Next, the AI demanded, "Speak with the patient in the mirror." My breath fogged in the cold. I found another cracked mirror, this one in what must have been the nurse's station. My own face stared back at me, drawn and pale. The AI's instructions were clear. Ask your reflection its name. If it answers, do not break eye contact. I forced myself to ask, voice trembling, "What's your name?" For a long, shivering moment, nothing happened. Then my reflection smiled, a slow, unnatural twist of the lips. It whispered back, but the words were garbled, as if spoken underwater. The lights flickered and my reflection's eyes darkened. My own eyes. I couldn't look away, powerless under its gaze. The reflection moved its hand, beckoning me closer, but I stood frozen. The AI's final warning rang in my ears. If the reflection reaches for you, step back. Or you'll switch places. As its fingertips pressed against the glass, I stumbled back, breaking the spell. My heart hammered in my chest. The mirror clouded over, hiding my reflection. I was still me. At least, I hoped so. The third nightmare challenge was the one I dreaded most. Survive the hall of locked doors. In my dreams, this was always where things went wrong. Endless doors, each one locked. Something behind them, scratching, begging to be let out. In the asylum, the hallway was longer than it had any right to be, stretching into darkness. The doors, warped and splintered, lined the walls. As I walked, the scratching began, soft at first, then more frantic. Fingers, claws, or something else. Each door shook in its frame, as if whatever was inside desperately wanted out. The AI had left a cryptic note: one door is unlocked. Open it, or the others will open themselves. I ran my hand along the doors, feeling the icy chill of each handle. The scratching grew louder, more frenzied. My hands shook as I tried each knob, most refusing to budge. Then, halfway down the hall, I found it, a door slightly ajar. Behind it, only darkness. I hesitated, but the other doors began to rattle violently, the wood splintering. I lunged for the unlocked door and stepped inside, slamming it shut behind me. The scratching stopped. I was alone in the pitch black, my own breath deafening. I flicked on my flashlight. The room was empty except for a single, rusted hospital bed. On it, the imprint of a body. No sheets, just the shape pressed deep into the mattress, as if someone had only just left. The AI's voice in my head: do not lie down. No matter how tired you feel. Suddenly, exhaustion washed over me. My knees buckled. I fought the urge to rest, to let the darkness take me. But I forced myself up. I pressed on, refusing the bed's silent invitation. By now, the asylum felt alive. The walls breathed. The floorboards groaned. Every shadow seemed to twist and reach for me. I remembered the AI's next challenge. Find the room with the red light. Do not enter until it flickers. I wandered the maze of corridors, every step heavier than the last. Eventually, I saw it. A faint, bloody glow spilling from beneath a door. The light was steady. I waited, heart hammering, as the minutes crawled by. Then, without warning, the light began to flicker. I pushed the door open. Inside, the room was drenched in crimson light. The walls, covered in handprints, some small, some impossibly large. In the center, a broken wheelchair faced the corner, as if someone had been forced to watch the wall for eternity. The AI's text flashed through my mind. Sit in the wheelchair. Close your eyes. Count to 10. If you hear footsteps, do not move. I sat, the cold metal biting through my clothes. I squeezed my eyes shut and began to count. 1, 2, 3. The room was silent, save for my own ragged breathing. 4, 5, 6. Then, footsteps, slow and deliberate, circling the chair. 7, 8. The footsteps stopped behind me. 9. A hand brushed my shoulder, ice cold. 10. I opened my eyes. The room was empty, but the handprints on the wall had multiplied. I bolted from the room, refusing to look back. The AI's next demand was more cryptic. Find the stairwell. Descend, but do not touch the banister. I found the stairs, caked in dust and mold. The banister was slick with something dark, something that pulsed with every heartbeat. As I descended, the shadows below seemed to writhe, forming shapes that evaporated whenever I tried to focus. Halfway down, I heard whispering, dozens of voices, all speaking at once. Some pleaded for help, others begged me to turn back. But the AI's instructions were clear. I forced myself downward, hands by my sides, refusing the banister's pull. At the bottom, a heavy door waited. The whispers stopped. On the other side, the morgue. My least favorite nightmare, brought to life. The AI's challenge: open a drawer. If it's empty, you may leave. If not, speak the name you heard in the mirror. Rows of metal drawers lined the walls, each one promising something unspeakable. I chose one at random, breath held tight in my lungs. The drawer screeched open, empty. Relief flooded me, but the air felt colder. I turned to leave, but the door had vanished. In its place, a blank wall. The AI's final message echoed in my mind. The only way out is through your fear. I was trapped, alone, or so I thought. The lights flickered, plunging the room into strobing shadows. Shapes moved in the periphery, figures draped in hospital gowns, faces obscured by darkness. They pressed in, silent, reaching. I backed into the far corner, clutching my flashlight like a weapon. But the batteries died, and I was left in total darkness. In that blackness, the asylum's true nature revealed itself. Voices whispered from every direction, fragments of lost memories, pain, and rage. One voice, louder than the rest, repeated the name I'd heard in the mirror: Over and over, a twisted lullaby. I covered my ears, but the voices pressed into my skull, burrowing deep. The air grew colder. The smell of rot and decay choked me. Then, a hand, ice cold, wrapped around my ankle. I tried to scream, but the sound was swallowed by the darkness. The figures closed in, their faces inches from mine, mouths open in silent screams. I was drowning in terror, unable to move, unable to breathe. But in that moment, I remembered the AI's final command. Face your fear. Speak its name. I forced myself to whisper the name from the mirror, voice shaking. The figures recoiled, their bodies twisting in agony. The darkness receded, just enough for me to see the outline of a door in the far wall. I crawled toward it, the voices wailing behind me. I reached the door, pulled it open, and stumbled out into the cold night air. The asylum spat me out, bruised and broken, but alive. The nightmares had followed me out, but I had survived. Barely. So, what did I learn? That our nightmares are more than just dreams. They're warnings, yes, but also invitations, to face what terrifies us most. The AI didn't just recreate my nightmares. It made me live them, breathe them, survive them. And in doing so, it forced me to see the truth. The line between nightmare and reality is thinner than we think. Sometimes, all it takes is a whisper, a shadow, or a cold hand in the dark, and that line snaps. If you're watching this, ask yourself, what would your nightmares create if they were given flesh and bone? What horrors lie dormant in your mind, waiting for a chance to crawl out? Would you survive them, or would you be consumed? If you want to see me face more horrors, I-made or otherwise, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Tell me in the comments, what's the worst nightmare you've ever had? Maybe next time, I'll let the AI make it real. Until then, sleep tight, and remember, in the world of Scary Moo, your nightmares are always listening.